My name is Ricardo Santana. I live in the city of Goiânia and attend the Morada do Sol Church. I came to the Reform movement in the year 2000. In 2012, already 12 years in the faith, I was going through a very difficult financial situation. I was the owner and manager of a small workshop and had some people working for me, so there was a lot of concern about covering their needs, and because of that, I did not establish an income for myself to take care of my family, my needs. In that year, there was a special Sabbath school lesson on stewardship, and during a very special week, it was covering the exact issue of faithful tithing. On Sunday and Monday, studying the lesson, I began to feel God's voice reprimanding me and drawing my attention because I had been in debt for a long time. And the more I read the lesson, the clearer it became that I had to settle my accounts with God. When Sabbath came, we arrived for Sabbath school. When the lesson was about halfway done, emphasis was again placed on a story I read during the week about a brother who understood he needed to settle his accounts with God and then sought the church leadership to sign a document we call a promissory note. He made this promise and God provided him with the resources, and in a short time he returned and managed to settle his debt. That shocked me. It really grabbed my attention. Actually, it gave me hope to say, wow, can God do that again? And when the brother from the lesson, who was teaching the lesson, emphasized that, I not only felt in my heart that I should do it, but I said, so Lord, what are the numbers? And he answered me. The lesson had barely ended, and I called the field treasurer who was there at church. I called him and said, Brother, I need to have a conversation with you right now. He said, yes, brother, but... I said, here's the thing. I have a long-standing debt with God, and I need you to write up a promissory note for me. He looked at me like this, but I don't even have the promissory notepad. I said, no, give me that paper, I'll write it. It will serve as a document. He gave me a blank sheet with a pen. I wrote according to God's guidance, and the total was 21 months. Multiplying by the salary of that time, it was exactly 7 salaries. I felt peace at that moment, so we prayed, and I got up from that prayer with a deep peace, because that had been troubling me, and it was what the devil used to break me, saying, who are you in the church? You are in debt. You shouldn't even be here. That ended at that moment. Why? Because I had signed a document for God, taken on my debt, and from that moment on, I just had to wait. I went home, and Sunday went by. On Monday, I arrived at my workshop and got a phone call. There was a company that needed my service at the time so they could serve an industry, but to do so, I had to be their employee. So they had written up a contract and signed my work documents. They called me in, and when I arrived, the director said, look, we're going to move, and I need to settle all the company's outstanding accounts, including yours. This wasn't customary, but they were settling all my labor entitlements related to a certain work period. She handed me the papers, the amounts were on it, and when I saw the numbers I said, wow, this will pay off 30% of my debt. That was Monday. As I had commitments on Monday, I asked her if I could come back to pick up the money. On Tuesday I went to the bank. When I got there, I received the money, very happy because I thought, 30%, I'll pay the debt off so soon. The cashier said to me, go back to the company office because there's a remainder left here. When he said remainder, I thought, oh, just a little extra. I went to the office. They checked the system. Okay, you can go back to the bank. The actual amount is there to be picked up. When I went back, there was another 30%. The money had doubled. I said, how? And the cashier said, so, here's the thing. I think our system is glitching. You're going to have to go back to the office because there's still money in your account. The calculation isn't adding up. He gave me the cash in another envelope, and I returned to the office. The third time I went to the bank, the man gave me another sum. I asked him to put it in a third envelope, and that money not only covered 100% of my promissory note, but it was also enough to support my family for the rest of the month and still give God an additional offering of gratitude and first fruits. From Tuesday to Wednesday, I contacted the field. I called and told the treasurer, brother, I need to talk to you. Hi, okay, I'll be there on Sabbath. "All right, I'll wait for you on Sabbath." He arrived, but that day I didn't wait for Sabbath school. I went to him before it even began. He arrived at church, we greeted each other, and I said, "Brother, I need to talk to you at the field office." When he entered the room, I first asked him to pray. We prayed, and right after the prayer I said, "Brother, I need you to give me back that paper I signed last Sabbath." He looked at me. "All right, brother, but why?" Then I took out of my bag the envelopes with the money that paid off the entire amount of the promissory note, and still left an offering for God for the miracle He had done in my life that week. For me, the summary of this whole experience is that if you still harbor any doubt, trust in God. Believe that He has the power to do all things. Because I never imagined that God could answer so quickly. Just the simple fact of having trusted and accepted that He could do for me what I couldn't manage to do for almost 2 years. And I would like to invite you to have an experience with God. Be a blessing.